HHDG.
Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. And as always, give a shout out to our whole HHDG Media Inc. crew that makes it happen week in, week out, month after month, year after year. Rock Vader KB, the Mayor, Skelly Top, T. Smith, and myself, Wiki. And as you can see on the bottom banner, you can go to that hhdgmedia.com website and go check out some of the new music we put up on there, as well as some of our merch. And also, you can go through there, our link tree, .hhdgmedia, and you can go through all of our other sites to check the previous podcast through Apple Music, Amazon Music, Anchor, Spotify, all the major digital service platforms. And you can also check out our mixtape by Rock Vader KB, the best 2K21. That's up on our website. See some of the hot new music that came out from last year. And as always, shout out to our Facebook group, Hip Hop Discussion Group. Sorry about that, HHDG. That's tuning in right now. Shout out to everyone out there. And before we get into our guest for tonight, got to give a nice intro to these brothers right here. You know, they are still two of my favorite MC duos out there, not just from Carolina, not just from being on Jamla, but two of my favorite MC duos. And we're going to talk about the new album and how listening to it, it feels like they didn't miss a step. I hope a lot of people out there have already tuned into this new 2022 album. And we're also going to talk about, you know, just their success, you know, their energy, their synergy, the way these two rhyme together, you know, definitely been working together for quite some time before they got put on the map. And they show they got quite the long friendship, you know, which is also a positive when it comes to making music. I mean, they work with countless well-known names that we'll talk about later on. And the projects that they put out for free at first before their debut album dropped. And these two are not just nice on the mic. They also got production skills that you've seen them work with some other people with. And they coming from a state where there's always dope music coming out of North Carolina. So without, further ado, I'd like to give a nice intro, warm welcome to Actual Proof with Enigma.
Peace.
And Sundown. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
How y'all doing tonight?
What's going on? Oh, man. All right. Busy, but all right.
Busy?
Yeah.
Cool.
I am one of my good friends, Chuck, asked me this morning if me and my lady if we were team no sleep yet. And I think it just feels like one continuous day. Like, where we nap, it just so happens to be nighttime. But it's not like a slumber. You know what I mean? Like, you go to sleep for it, and then wake up. Yeah, so it's just like one continuous day with like naps in between, with my lady driving the whole thing, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to be whatever support I can, you know what I mean, in the process. And it's dope to like right now kind of, connect with my man. And yo, we appreciate you having us on, really. And your words, really. Love.
I appreciate.
I hope.
Are you breaking up?
It's my man's internet. It betrays him at times. I'm if the internet connectivity
Yep, there you
was
go.
an individual, and me and Sundown seen him, we would jump him. The internet connectivity, like we would jump him.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, he's back.
Of course.
There you go.
Internet.
Yeah, man. Oh,
Am I like normal? Am I in?
we hear you, but your video's not.
It's all good. As long as we can hear each other, you know what I mean? And then hopefully it'll keep up, you know what I mean? It'll come back in, I think.
Might want to try a different spot. All right, well, we could keep going, while he's trying to, get that situated. Since Blackboard Radio to your new album, like I was saying in the intro, it's been 10 years. But listening to the new album, it doesn't feel like it at all.
Nah. Well, one thank you for listening to the new joint. Like we were my man's back. Were you good?
I hope so.
All right. Yeah, but no, thank you for listening to it. Like we were, before we even released the new this newer content, we were debating how we would do it. Like it's been sitting, but these have been, we call them kind of dust collectors, you know what I mean? Like they were just in the stash, because and so they're a kind of time capsule in that way. So we wanted to take an opportunity to, before releasing and kind of sharing where we are currently, like in the present, our journey to get here, so to speak. You know what I mean? There's 10 years that a lot of people that we missed out on in terms of being able to share with one another. And, but at the same time, even though we weren't releasing music, we were actively recording music with Jam Loretta,
Right.
You know what I mean? At Bright Lady. And, over the years, they pile up, and you look back, in retrospect, and you're like, man, we got all this great stuff, and they weren't really, you take it from now, you know the story. And I mean, I don't want to talk the whole time, you know what I mean? I'm going to let my man spit here. We're talking about, 10 years since Blackboard Radio, and it doesn't feel like we missed a step.
Oh, that's because most of these were made around that same time. We just never got to put them out. We attempted a couple times to put some stuff out, and it just didn't work for whatever reason. And we decided to, like, when we started back, it was like, well, we might as well put out the songs that we wanted to put out back then. Let's start there and then start building back.
Yeah, because
that makes sense.
Yeah,
because like you were saying, it builds up.
Yeah.
So now, being that Overdrive and Tears of the Sun are two of the oldest tracks on there, which is the one that was actually done first?
I'm going to say Tears of the Sun was done first.
I would say Tears of the Sun. Yeah. And then Overdrive, because Overdrive was initially slated to be an interlude, like for Amp's beat tape. So he was going to come out with a beat tape, Amp on the Beat Volume 2. And, it was going to be an interlude tape on that. And, because where we all are currently, we felt like it was a dope opportunity to kind of, if we were to come back, well, shit, let's gather the joints that we did with Amp. And because it's been a while since, he has shared, you know what I mean, his beats. and we came in together, like we grew up together. That's my brother in real life. I say that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's Aunt's brother from another mother in real life, because we all kind of were same neighborhood. He walks in my house, you know, and he doesn't have to knock. It's one of those type of like friends. That's a big deal in a black, family, black neighborhood. Walking in my house, my dad, as my dad would say, would speak. So.
Definitely, yeah. And that right there, that's a true bond right there. And and being that you speak on that, that's how a lot of black families actually grew up. It was, if people knew who you are, it would be okay for you to come through if they seen you on a regular. It was like your extended family.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Everybody has friends where it's like, man, I probably can't bring such and such around my parents. I don't think I was that person for anybody really. But yeah, it was the same in my house. They'd come over whenever.
But he had a dog by the name of Scruffy, and Scruffy was one of those Yorkie type. Very, you can't see the eyes. You don't know, so you don't know where he looking. You don't know where. You can't see everything. Is just very veiled with his dog. And he terrorizes. And
he was good. He was good man.
I've been on his kitchen table, like on top, like like climbed up, get off my table, bro. Like, and I think he would do it on purpose. I digress. Go ahead. What were you? Sorry. Oh, coming in your house, just being able to, how we grew up and everything. So.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, it was, my parents know who him and Amp are. Likewise, we could walk to each other's houses in 5 minutes, play basketball all the time, video games, went to school, your typical friendship. We didn't get into too much trouble, but, just nice and even keeled for the most part.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is a question for both of you. Which came first, MCing or production?
That's easy for me.
Yeah. It was MCing for me. Well, I mean, I like writing. I started to write. I could never freestyle. Freestyles always ended up bad because I wasn't like, I don't think I was as aware of like who I wanted to be or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So I was still trying to find who I was. It's hard to like speak that intentionally. To be able to like freestyle, you got to be very intentional with every word for the most part. And and I see myself kind of getting to those moments like just in speech and whatnot, and it's starting to come a lot easier to me now than it did in the past. So I like writing, and that was shaped by like close friends that I was impressed by their writing, and it made me want to do it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like, oh man, I can do that. I felt like I could do whatever somebody else could do. That was my. I think I don't know why I don't let people just have stuff like, oh, you can do it. Well, fine. I'm gonna now do it too. Type thing. So.
I started off making beats. I had no real intention to rap. That was like the thing that I wanted to do. I don't know. Something about it appealed to me. It was fun. And then, me and Amp would kind of write a little bit to hear something on our beats.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't take it serious. And then E and his rapping partner, her former rapping partner, came back around, and we were like, oh, well, we don't have to write anymore because they're here, So that was the focus. And then his partner went off to grad school, and then we wind up getting signed. And he said, "Hey, I don't want to rap by myself anymore. You two can rhyme. Why don't you two rhyme with me?" Amp was not trying to hear that.
Amp can rap.
He made it abundantly clear multiple times. And the last time we asked him, it was like, okay, he's not going to do this. Clearly, he's not going to do this. Based on his reaction, it was like, all right, we're not asking you anymore. And he was like, well, what's up? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Not knowing what I was getting myself into. And it was rough at first. I mean, it's still rough, you know, trying to write stuff. But at first it was tough because, you know, I'm rapping with him, and then there's all these people at the studio, and then there's new people showing up at the studio all the time, and like everybody's nice. It's just like, oh shit, I might have made a mistake. I might have made a mistake here.
That typically, I mean, that whenever I hear Sundown like speak as highly as he does of his peers, you know, it makes to me what he does that much more impressive, because he doesn't necessarily see himself, you know, where I think he is in terms of lyrical ability. He keeps me, you know,
It keeps you
I'm
up.
honored to be, yeah, I'm honored to be on the squad with him. You know, and it's dope to hear when he collaborates with other individuals that I can see his like full like light and ability. You know what I mean? Like shine through.
Yeah.
Because with us, there's an equal, in my opinion, like yin yang type feel. That's the perspective I have in mind, right? From my perspective, you know what I mean? Others can look at it and be like, you know, he burns me or vice versa, you know what I mean? But I feel like we are equal parts of the same, you know, the same like whole type thing.
Yeah.
You know, type thing. And we complement one another very well. So when I see him collaborate or do a solo type joint, I'm like, you know, I get to see more of his full spectrum of light, right? So, okay.
So you humble yourself.
Yes, I just, you know, I know what I hear, and I know what I hear from other people, and I know what I want to hear from myself. I don't think I've heard what I want from me too often. And then, you know, rapping with E, Add 2 shows up, Chewy comes into town, GQ shows up, Raekwon shows up to the studio, and Lecrae shows up, David Banner shows up, you know, Sky Zoo. I mean, there's all these people coming through all the time. Cooley High shows up, and they're either rapping something or playing something that they did recently, and it's just like, oh God, like, okay, you know. So, in my mind, it's just like you know, I'm pretty sure like Trae Young knows what Donovan Mitchell has, you know, and so in the moment, it's like I'm not Trae Young. I gotta get out there and go prove it again, you know. Like someone may look at him like, oh, that's Trae Young, but he's thinking like, oh, Donovan dropped 40 last night. I gotta get busy.
Step up.
He's somebody that, or Luka, you know, Luka in my draft class, he was somebody that I was compared to. Luka went nuts last night for a triple double. It's on me now, you know. So that's how I look at it. It's never like I can rest. It's always just like oh my God, who did what? Okay, that's the bar now, you know. I mean, there's songs that he and I have done where he did a verse and I was like, nope, that's your song. You know, there's no way for me to follow up what you just did, you know. And That's a part of it for me too. Like, hey, know your limits and know like, hey, that song is fine without you. You know, you don't need to touch that.
And that's what I mean about the yin and yang. Imagine if he and I were the same, right? Imagine if he and I were the exact same. We wouldn't even be speaking, like we wouldn't even be act proof. Because you know what I mean? Like that's the whole idea of us. Like whenever you hear any song of ours, it's like Enigma's gonna spit a verse his way, his perspective. So we'll Sundown, then we create a hook and we get out of there. Most time it's verse, hook, verse, we out, you know, type thing. We're not doing 2 and 2 unless we really got something to say. Because at that point we've said all we wanted to. At that point, I guess, you know what I mean, on that track over that beat, what we were feeling from it when we wrote it. And so the yin and yang to me in Sundown, like I don't apply it that much pressure. Like I don't, because I feel like I would be, I'm not as adaptable to that as Sundown is. That type of pressure, you know what I mean? I'm not as equipped to move through that level of pressure with writing because of the way that I like to do it. You know what I mean? And so, like in the beginning, Sundown wouldn't really write. He wouldn't really write to beats. And I needed this. I wanted to write to the beat because I felt like I got a specific thing from it, and I never felt like I was. The only time I felt like in competition with someone is in competition with like myself. Like so, it'd be something that somebody would say about me that I would take fully personal. And I would let that alter my whole way of being in rap. You know what I mean? Like, and so I would stop a mannerism or some type of like, you know, thing I would do while rapping to appease one or two people. Which is kind of insane given that there are billions of people on the planet of Earth. And I'm concerned with the thoughts of one or two people. Let alone, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's mine. So we're just we're the same, same coin size.
Now, Enigma, have you read this book yet?
Not yet. I have not had the opportunity to do it, but that is on my list. And Dilla is
definitely
one of like if there's anything I can go to a Dilla beat to get inspiration, like wells to draw from inspiration wise. That's making people rap.
And that's one of the reasons why I brought it up because of Gobstopper and King.
Yes. That was playing in Foot Locker the other day or yesterday. Me and my son was in there, and we both stopped and was like. My son Reed, he's a sample monster as well. He points them out. He brings them. He calls them out a lot. So, but yeah, I just they make you feel a way. They make you feel a way, and we got that similar feeling from Shepherd Sounds, which I know we'll talk about later on. But Sundown, you know what I mean.
So with those two Dilla tracks that I just mentioned, what made you come to that point where you need to hear your verse over those beats?
That was well, I'll tell you this. With the amount of talent that was in Jamla Records, of artists and producers, right? Like all in this like melting pot of talent, right? Musical talent. The dispersion of beats. It's not, I mean, it's, not every joint matches every rapper, right? For the time and space that they're in. And there were frequent times where that occurred, right? Where a beat didn't match where the vibe I was looking for. And but when we're pressed for time or we need to get a joint down, I'll just write it to the gobstopper joint because it had a steady enough rhythm to it. It was like a loop type feel, like I could just just to lay down or feel a pattern or whatever. But so that's more so where I would retreat to as a tester, or if I'm writing something in my head to no beat and I'm just I catch something, I'm like, oh, let me go to gobstopper then. You know what I mean? Like to jump on really quick. So it wasn't always just like I wasn't getting the level. It was just like that was a tester track, almost like a off road that I can always take to get some inspiration. Back then,
yeah,
respectfully back then, because I don't. I mean, we're different now. You know what I mean? Consider I think people as men and experiences and all that.
So what is that Pete Rock track now that you go to?
It's Rejoice.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a slower feel to it. I'm as I feel like as I'm getting older, I need to slow it down a little bit. I'm going to slow it down a little bit, just a little bit, because I was rocking to most of the old joints that we have, and it was steadily in that 92, 91, 93 BPM. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, man, damn, my head hurt, bro. Like, I'm just sitting here laying in the bed, and it's the constant of that. And I felt like oftentimes we were kind of boxed into that, right? Because if we weren't producing it ourselves, then I got to make a joint that sounds like Act Proof is on it. And so we would hear a beat that come out specifically made with Act Proof in mind, dope, which is appreciative. That's like customized beats, right? But the variety that you hear amongst the other talent, right, is like, wow, man, like I would love to. That would be dope to ride over a track like that from time to time. And so luckily, man, the world, or people, we had people that appreciated what we do, and they shared what they do, and we had outside producers come in and kind of provide some dope stuff. Like
Absolutely,
Mo Heat was the first, then off of the notch, like there were some joints that were not the Act Proof sound too, you know what I mean, like that people were used to, accustomed to, because that was shaped by the ears of a more wider group of
big
people.
umbrella.
Deciding that sound. And now it's word up, thank you for the experience and the knowledge, right? And it's not powerful at all to us if we don't apply it. And so say, how can we create our own nucleus of what we've learned and grow from here, and kind of bear our own fruit. See what our own fruit can bear. We were the fruit of a family tree.
Yep.
At what point do we become our own and plant our own seed, all in the spirit of love and thanking? Right. For me, because I feel like what we're about to release here in a few, it was supposed to be now and not back then, apparently, because now we have the ability to share it with perspective about it, because it's hard to have a full, complete perspective when you're in the shit, when you're in the midst of it all, versus stepping outside of it and seeing it from like this huge ball, right? The sphere. Think of it like a planet. So we zoom in, or now we like, okay, we go to head, and we come elevate, and now we can see it as a full part. We were just a small type thing. So I'm trying to get too out of bounds.
That's all right. It's like a person like myself. I grew up in New York City. Go out to the woods, you get a completely different perspective on life, and it opens up your mind to different things when you come back to the city.
Yes, exactly.
So where are you from?
I'm from Staten Island.
Oh, okay. I got the From the Streets of Shaolin book over here.
Yeah, I can tell you got some wisdom. Look, you got some little gray little pepper in there. A little pepper here. A little salt and pepper in there, right? You got some wisdom. Staten Island with that level of wisdom. You were back there during when it was popping out when things were happening.
Yeah.
And I bet seeing that.
What was that like?
Yeah.
If we can break and ask you a question.
Definitely. I'm not sure if you are you familiar with the Force MDs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I haven't heard. You gonna bring me up to speed? I have a feeling you was about to bring me up to speed.
Oh no! I was gonna say, before the Wu really blew up, that was the group from Staten Island that you knew about, and actually they had some family that lived another building next to me, so I saw a few of them quite often.
Wow!
And just to hear them harmonizing, in person is surreal.
So for us, rappers were like superheroes. They were on television.
Mm-hmm.
For you to have that contact with them that early, that had to have been crazy to see them like walking through and like, oh, like that's them. Because for us, it was strictly television.
And to that point, like, let me ask, was that like, because it could have been like your local, like because how
you're not until you see them on TV.
Yeah. And so, or was it a type of thing where it's like, oh, this is a nigga Method Man thinking they think they nice? Was it like that? Like, was it that type of love in the beginning because it's all love. Was it that type of love in the beginning, for what they were doing and appreciation for what they were doing?
Yeah, that movement, at that time, it was a big appreciation. And the way they were moving at that time, it was very similar to how a lot of artists from the South were doing their movement.
Word.
Out of the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's... Yeah.
I mean, to see someone from your area and to know how far they've come,
watch it.
It's amazing, yeah. And I didn't live in the exact same area that they did, but you still you go to certain areas, growing up, and you every once in a while you come in contact with them, so it's still it's surreal. You'll see how far they've come.
Yeah.
Staircase to Stage. That's the name of Ray's book.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break.
No, that's all right. It's all good. And I still have the cassette of Protect Your Neck.
Wow. When
cassette.
I was a kid when End of the 36 came out, and my cousin from Grambling was in town on spring break. I don't know why he came up to be with us, but he had that tape, and I heard it, and it scared the shit out of me because they were talking about chopping heads off. I was like, what is this? And then like eventually, I was like, oh, okay, like I can get with this. But at first it was like, are they, is it in a child's mind? It's like, are they really doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, that had to have been crazy.
Yeah, and at the same,
there's still
yeah, definitely. And at the same time, the fact that they were mixing martial arts, and I was already into martial arts films. I had an uncle that self-taught himself a few different types of Shaolin Kung Fu. So it's like everything is just, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Just like full stream right in front of you. You seeing everything come into fruition.
That's big. It was my mom's younger boyfriend who after my mom and my dad kind of split, who had Wu-Tang. I didn't know what I was listening to. I did not know what I was listening to. What year was that? Like 91, right? 92,
Yeah, right.
93.
93 is when it came out.
I'm like 8, 9, and 10, and I mean, you got a certain level, latitude with parents and what I got to listen to at my dad's crib versus my mom's crib. So I would get it in like little spurts. So those were things that I kind of captured or got introduced to by my older brother once I got to high school. Like they were 2 years older than me, you know what I mean? And so once I started getting to middle school and out of grade schools, you ain't really listening to no hardcore hip hop in 5th grade, y'all. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, you know what I mean, at that time. So but I got introduced to it once we got into middle school and then subsequently high school.
Cool. Now, since we're on the topic of what you were coming up on, what other music were the two you listening to at that time?
As a young kid? Oh, that's a good question. My mom was big into the Pointer Sisters. Like, I don't know why. She just loved them. Patti LaBelle. My mom was big into that. My dad was big into Bobby Blue Bland. Like, huge fan of his. BB King, stuff like that. And then, gospel on Sunday on the way to church or whatever. But I went to visit my dad's family and saw one of my uncles with a Beastie Boys cassette. It was that, that kind of started that. My cousin coming up and put me on the Wu-Tang. My man Brian Farley, his cousin moved from Queens to Raleigh, and he put us on a ton of stuff. It's like, yo, you need to listen to Computer Love. You need to, just running stuff down, and had his CD collection. And I would go over to Brian's on some weekends, and we would just listen to whatever his cousin Mark had.
Yeah.
Put us on Mobb Deep, Nas, the typical stuff.
Yeah, mine was like a bunch of what he had already mentioned, plus my dad was like a very funk. He was into P-Funkadelics and dramatics and shot lights and all the them old Ohio players and Earth Wind, all those guys. And so I grew up on a lot of that. Jazz, he was using Kenny G, always Kenny G playing. And whenever he put on Kenny G after getting off of work, that was inspection time. We knew if we had broken glasses or something in the house, it was over for us. Me and Warren Amp, aka Amp, we've been into it run-ins with the belt a few times. We had a few run-ins with it, But then, so jazz, Michael Jackson. We would run Michael Jackson all the time. We had his dance moves down. We would be doing in our church socks, moonwalking and all kind of James Brown. And we would apply tactics like that on the playground at times. I know I, on the playground doing The Way You Make Me Feel video. Really being Pepe Le Pew. I was being yeah, if I saw a young kid chasing my daughter around, I'd be like, young man. Get your ass down. If it was chasing one of my daughters right now, I got 3, right? So, but it's really dope. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing. The whole thing's really dope. But that the music, that's what we kind of grew up on, and it kind of meshed into hip hop. Whenever I went to my mom's, and that was all straight up like Fugees, Mary J. Blige, type vibes, and Biggie, and it was a mosh pit of the early '90s hip hop over there, and those two sounds made it a warm feeling when we heard like old school funk or jazz or that type of soul over hip hop beats. I think it was because that's what shaped my idea of music. Like that's yeah. So that's what good music was to me.
Yeah, because like those groups that you mentioned, a lot of us grew up on that. So now we're hearing it in hip hop, and it's like, oh, I know this.
And you hear it coming back again because now they're sampling, and those I like that feeling too. It gives me the same feeling, like like just a connection to this like linear type timeline of the hip hop culture, right? Or black or music, this type of music, this soul in music. You know what I mean? When it's all tied together like that, it has like this organic feel to it, like it's timeless.
Yeah. And you channeled your inner Michael Jackson on your first project.
I had never been on a mic as crispy as that. I remembered it being just incredibly crisp that night. Like, whenever S and K is very nicely mixed to where you just like, you start doing like, that's why he did it. He would get like some type of rhythmic battle with himself, with his, with his Michael Jackson self. And I felt that night when I was on that mic, apparently. And they kept a lot of that stuff that we were just in the moment in.
Just let it run.
If people could hear the outtakes and the wild stuff we do in between recording, it's out of control. It is out of control. It really is.
He's not lying.
Mm-hmm. So the IG Live doesn't even touch that.
No.
God, no.
IG Live is we finished the IG Live and call each other, and I call him FaceTime like, were we okay? Like we didn't go too crazy, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's nothing like, there's nothing wild. Like we're not like using racial slurs or anything like that, but just the way we think, like we haven't really presented that to anybody, really. It's just one of the examples I use is when we made Letter to Coretta. We're talking about the title alone, Coretta Scott King. That name holds some weight. If we stop recording, it's straight silliness. Like we're not in the moment like, this, we got to do her justice. We did what we did and straight back to clowning. And there's a lot of that I think, I don't know if we like presented ourselves too serious. We did Competitors and that was funny, but there was much more of that in us than the seriousness. Way much.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. I think it comes out on stage a lot more, but like on songs, not so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's more balanced for me now, with that, because of just, I guess, what you experience, right? Like what you go through, and so that's why we had to say, nah, I don't feel like they need to see where we are now, like how we got here, type thing. Because those you capture that in these songs that you guys are gonna hear, but you're gonna see with each release, there's gonna be you're gonna feel like there's growth in that, even though that there's gonna be these short span turnarounds of, in the grand scheme of what growth we felt like, I felt like I reached during that process. I don't want to say we, but I know I saw growth in Sundown, so as well, and you kind of hear that as we begin, and a lot of the facade of what what I thought rap was about begins to drop off with each level of ascension that we go to, so to speak.
And I think another reason, like, we could be silly when we're done recording, but not silly when we were recording. We were trying to prove ourselves because we were the least experienced in there. You know, we're, like I've mentioned before, you never know who's going to walk through that door, and you know, you don't want to get caught goofing off on the mic. You know, that's something that we take serious. But I think now that we have a comfort level and we've done enough to ourselves, like, okay, we can rap. You know, we've proven that enough to ourselves. Like, okay, hey, yeah, like we can make songs. We can do this. You know, now we can be silly on IG Live and, you know, stuff like that. Whereas before it would be, okay, you know, you ready? Press record, rap, rap, rap. All right, yo, you good? Yeah, rap, 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 rap. Then we can get back to it. Now it's more of a, there's more of a familiarity with it.
There you go. Definitely interesting. Now, before we go into that, the new album, I just wanted you to just take us back real quick to Skate Kids and Genius, both produced by Ninth Wonder.
You take Genius, I'll take Skate Kids.
All right. Genius, yeah, like, so Genius was like back during that time, we were it was dope. He gave us some equipment. He let us use some equipment that pretty much the same equipment that they recorded some of the joints that was on the listening, like early Little Brother songs, right? Like he came, so that felt like it was like a dope, like, what's it called? That was a dope thing. It was just a dope thing to do. Like we were recording it. We were trying to, you know, so we could figure out how to record and mix our own music and record ourselves at least, right? You know, get familiar with the program of making a song together and formatting it and all of that. And that was because at Central, we were recording at Central at the time, North Carolina Central University in the biology building. It was a lot of, you know, like a lot of artists, right? We had Swift. Shout out to young Swift. I want to make sure I shout out everybody that I can. I don't know. It's like I remember Swift. I remember Focus, M1 Platoon. We have and Crew. Peace to you, right? Because they're members of M1 Platoon that aren't mentioned, right? Like outside of the core group, I believe they had a big friendship, right? A lot of connections, like within that. Cooley High was in there, and and all that family. Tom Hardy, you know, the whole early Jamla, everybody that's on Jamla, right? Like, so all of that at one time. It's only one mic and one mixing board, one main studio to record in. And that's true back there. She's like that. Keep it down. So we didn't often get a chance to record on the one mic. So a lot of that practice was on our own, where we would bring the joints back to the studio, and/or Knife would come to where we recorded it at and then give us some feedback. We would move on from there, keep going, and keep growing from there. And then when we got, it was a night at North Carolina Central. It was like 3 a.m. This is after like still having a life, right? Having a wife, having a child, like, having a life at the same time. Sundown as well, like, had a life going, right? But this is what we sacrificed to have opportunities, right? So we made that decision to do. And so we're there, 3 a.m. Let's go. He said, "Y'all ready? We are." And he put on a record that Billy Paul joint, and the Another World, right? Taken to Another World. That was a song that we had done previously when we downloaded some beats for free off of LimeWire back in the day, like when we were coming up on the rap scene. Me and my man, Full Logic, my man DeWesson. Shout out to DeWesson Search. And he had that song. It's called Hadizzle, Hadizzle, on you can find it on YouTube, but it used that same sample. It was like a dope special song, like, and so to hear him rechopping that, we were excited, and he came down there and was like, "Yo, write something about being a genius," and we went from there. But I have to say, it's not one of our favorites. It's far from a favorite. It's a time capsule, nostalgic joint for us, for me. And when I listen to it now, I don't judge it for what it is now. I judge it for I kind of I'm discerning from where it was back then, and I just know that was very uncomfortable rapping for me, because we were in the process of kind of shortening how I deliver my delivery. So it felt like a bouncy ball. I'm a genius. Paint pics, relate scripts, because y'all need it. Hate this. I shape shift, change my features. Like, it was very, and that's fun, but it's like a ride. I see raps like roller coaster rides. It's like the Mickey Mouse roller coaster, right? Like okay, we're just, and it's fun, and even but it even wasn't like very in-depth writing either, right? It was just metaphorically talking shit, and that's what it turned out to be a lot of times in those earlier rhymes, right? Like, and I know that's why I said respect. I respect the elder guys. I respect the ones that came before me, Fonte, Big Pooh, like freaking Black Thought, like Kweli, Mos Def, like that whole lineage. And I know that because I hear some of that old stuff now, and I'm like, bro, what are you talking about, young man? But it's fine because we grow, right? Everybody wasn't nice always and for all time, or if they were, they got better, right? They grew from it. So, but so intentionally though, like that's where we were in that space and time. So I like to share that peace of mind for a peace of mind.
Here you go. Wouldn't expect that, but like I said, I'm on the outside looking in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the song that we had to perform the most.
Yeah.
And, after a while, it's just like, okay, that's how we got to be. This isn't one of our favorites, because anytime that we would perform, if it was somewhere where we only had 5 minutes, guess what song we're doing? If it was we had 30 minutes, guess which song we're going to end with? So that's how it came to be. Like, this is not our favorite song.
And we stumbled over the performance hook, front to the back sandwich. Oh, damn it. They can't catch it.
Yeah, it took a while for us to even get comfortable performing it. And then
genius, and then they're saying genius with us, so it wasn't like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, we had to work out call and response, and then we had to figure out a different show hook, and but
I think we landed on Pumpy Fist or something, like, just that's the problem. We
in the process of that taught us more about performing. Everything that you do on the recording can't be done on stage. So even though we got tired of performing it and hearing it, it taught us a lot.
Yeah.
Because there would be times where we'd be on stage, just, you know, we could look at each other and be like, this doesn't feel quite right. You know, we're still pushing through the performance, but, you know, we can just tell looking at each other like this, we're not quite where we want to be with this yet. And, you know, we just started building from there, and that helped us start building our shows and, you know, sequencing a show and all of that. So that is a very, very big song for us. Outside of that being our introduction to people, that was a very big song for us.
Yes.
Yeah, those are definitely the two that, you know, got my attention.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's in itself genius. That's the genius in the song, I guess, right? Like this, that it would be one that we would least expect, you know.
And for Skate Kids, we had moved over to Bright Lady. We left North Carolina Central, and everybody came over to Bright Lady, and that was the new base of operations. So when we're there, it's early, like early on in being over there, and Ninth is growing as well because he's switching from like a digital audio workstation to a physical machine. Okay. He was on Fruity Loops, and now he's using an MPC. So he's growing, and this was one of those days where he leveled up. He just, something hit him, and he made a bunch of beats that day, and he was on a roll, and he made the beat for Skate. He found the sample for Skate Kids, and he was like, "Oh boy!"
That bass line came up in there.
And then he chopped the sample, and then he put the drums on it, and then he put the bass line on it, and it was like, uh-oh. And he was like, "You ready?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Went in and did my verse, and then he did his verse, and I said, "Hey, I got something else on my phone that I think will fit on it." And then I went back and, is that the one I'm thinking of? I think so. But, you know, because so much of that stuff was a blur, but that was a moment for us. It was like, hey, we can make songs. This is crazy. And it was one that we actually liked. It was like, oh, hey, we're going somewhere here. So we were all growing together, and those are two huge songs in our growth, because Skate Kids became a fun song for us to do on stage. Really fun song for us to do on stage. Wow. And probably one of my favorite music videos that we participated in.
I love the color. Like I love the color of it. And I like that one a lot too. That's one.
Yeah, it was just fun, you know.
Yeah, at the skate,
We went to a skate park and saw people skating, and then we went to some other spot and saw people skating. And I used to skate for a little bit in college, but I was like, I can't be showing up like with a broken collarbone to class. Like, this is ridiculous, you know. But then I'd see people on campus skating, and you know, I didn't put two and two together that maybe you should work a little more at skating instead of just being scared to get hurt. But yeah, it was cool just to be out there among people skating, and then in the skate shop, that was fun. And there were little kids that were, I think they were outside, and we invited them in to, you know, just, hey, come be in the video. So it was just a lot of fun.
That's dope. Yeah, that's great. And, you know, what was the brainchild in creating Super Genius?
That was all night.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it was.
Yeah. No, I think you were right. What were you saying?
Right, like it was. I think he was doing he did like a challenge to, like a Twitter challenge, like for all like upcoming artists or artists that wanted to prove themselves or felt they needed to prove themselves still at some point, right? Or wanted to get on the joint with Knife.
Yeah, he was like, "This is your chance. Submit verses."
We're gonna do a remix to Act Proof Genius.
A lot of people sent verses in. A lot of people, and I don't know if we heard all of them, but all the ones we heard were good. Mac Miller sent a verse in. It was after the deadline though, but that would have been cool.
Wow.
To have Kendrick and Mac on the song and add to, Cutlass Reed, Scooby. Verses just kept coming, and it's like, all right, put that one on it. All right, put that one on it. And then finally, he cut it, and he was like, all right, now you two rap, which was kind of last minute. But then after we rapped, it was done, and then he got the Mac verse, and it was like, it's too late.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
That was all him.
Very interesting. Now, with 10 years going by, you have a lot on your mind, that you want to talk about. And at the same time, life changes, like you were saying before. So that adds another element to what you want to put forth in your music. So when did you decide, on this is what we're going to put out? And also, does that coincide with the title of Between Us and the World?
I see it on you. Go ahead, get it off.
I don't think it's these. Honestly, these joints were. I don't think it was much into. These are just the joints that we had. Like, to be honest, like, it wasn't. I don't think we sifted through and picked through. Right, these were. Let's get all the joints that we did with Amp. Let's find all the ones we can find. To be honest with you, right? That hadn't been released or heard or assigned to another project or wasn't slated to be on a project anytime soon. Oh, yeah. Overdrive? That ain't there.
So let's throw that on. Let's put that on. Math. Yeah, let's put that on.
Proceed.
Yeah, let's put that on. 3,000 and Beyond. Let's put that on.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was slated for.
That was slated for all. Yeah.
What we thought was going to be the album. Didn't come out that way, obviously. And like, should we hold on to this one? And we were like, well, I mean, we're doing a joint with Amp.
Might as well.
Let's put it on there.
Yeah. So, but that's what that is. And the Between Us and the World part of it, again, Amped Up is that nod to Amp. We're gonna come out. The first episode might as well be, let's go. Let's come out, rock with my with bro. And the Between Us and the World was simply, these are the joints that. These are some joints that we've done over the years that there's always been something between us and the world that's like kind of kept it. There's always been something between us, right? And sharing that with the world. And so, hey, this is just straight from us to y'all. Like, so that's what I think Sundown is referring to. That's on me. And I don't know what but this idea of, well, it's just from us to y'all, like just from us to them, us to the people. There's no like us to someone else to trust, right? And trusting someone else with it. right? And then having some wild expectation that derives from that I place on myself or on somebody else, right? So imagine something. I'm creating something of my own, and I'm saying I'm gonna give this to someone else, and I'm entrusting that person to do with it what they will. Right? Do with it what you will. If we have the same interest, then it should work out mutually in our interest with whatever I just created for you. If not, how do I have a expectation for you to do something with it that I could probably do myself?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or at least stop holding other people accountable for my own where I am. That's me. I am a yin, yang is sundown. We see things incredibly differently, but we're the same coin here, right? And regardless of what side is flipped or what have you, I'm with my man, sundown, right? Like same coin. So, but that's where I'm at with it. Like it's just instead of saying, "Hey, someone else give this to people," this is between us and them. These weren't going to be on any joint. This ain't. It's just us to them, and we want to see what we can do with that, and be in charge of the artwork and the covers and the sequencing and learning and falling and failing. Because what is that? Like the fear there. We're stripping ourselves away of the fear of doing this, because why not? What opportunities are we missing? What opportunities are we potentially gaining? Who knows? Because that's like we're in the present right now, and time is fleeting. That's why I love that Kanye joint. The Netflix documentary, like when he said that time is fleeting.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am confident in us. Like I'm confident that because I'm confident that whatever we're being true to ourselves. We're being true to ourselves, in my opinion, right? Like so, that's kind of what between us and the world is for me. Like just let's just go straight from us to them.
And with, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I had read "Between Me and the World" by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and it was him talking to his son, and that's where the idea for the title came.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just us talking to people that want to listen to us. That was basically it.
Yes, the world of people that want to listen to us, or people that think they're not talking to the whole world.
No,
not many people are.
That's a lot of pressure to talk to the whole world. Speaking of,
not many people are. A lot of people that know.
Speaking of Kanye, I mean, he's got a huge audience, and
yes,
it seems to be weighing on him. So
yeah.
I'm definitely not ready for that. No.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's too much pressure. And with the album, you also have your brand. You have your own website, and you have your merch as well.
Yes. Oh, we own all of it. This is straight our creation.
That's all him. The one shirt I designed isn't. We don't know what happened to it. It's not in the store anymore. So everything you see up there, that's that man. That's that he took the ball and ran with it, and he would drop it on me every now and then. Hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. But the majority of that is him.
I appreciate he passes the rock a lot. He has even on the basketball court. He was definitely an assist guy. Like, you better watch out for passes from Sundown. They come at you quick as well. They got some steam behind it. But no, I always say this, and he doesn't want to take credit. It does. None of this happens without him. None of it happens without him. Period. I don't care what initial mind started that. Like, you get feedback from people. You get other matter, other material, other pieces of other material, right? Like, all this information that comes in, which alters how you create together with someone. You know what I mean? And so, I like to take all of but no, without a look from Sundown, right? Or I don't really that impacts the way we create, and so whatever you see is the final product of both our insight and input and experiences, and I just happen to be the one with the equipment and the random time at my random job, at the job that I have, to be able to doodle, right? And so I'm sitting there in my own creativity, right, and being like, well, let me see what this would be doing, because I'm not doing anything else, right? Like, in that moment too, right? So it's just a matter of with the time that I have to do it, why not? And a lot of times when there's times where I would need a break from doing it too, right? Like, so it's just, everything is happening in its own time, and I appreciate him giving me that credit for that. But we all designed this. We designed this whole thing. I just kind of brought it to life, brought it to material form.
Right.
And it's a whole squad of people that is doing that too, right? Because if it was all, it was John Brown who shot photos for us. It was Tremaine Treeses, who we grew up with both of these guys, right? Like, who did the mixing, and John Brown's brother, Tristan, did the first ad video comeback type thing. And we did that simply because we said, like, for the people who want to hear us and who care, I thought about it like this: for the people that want to hear us, why not? It would be a big deal for them, right? Like, so why are we gonna suppress how exciting this is? Because I know those people wouldn't want to be sitting back and then somebody just randomly tweet out, "Oh yeah, Act Proof is coming back," right? And it go but be beyond the wayside, because these are people that like back us and champion us over these years. So I want to make it a big deal. Shit, Act Proof is back. Let's get it done. Let's do the amp scratches. Let's get the merch. Let's get the website. Let's get all that, because why not? And then it gives them somewhere to come to get that Act Proof, because it's not going to be it hasn't been done before. Y'all haven't seen our websites before. And it's like, if nobody else is going to do it for me, well, damn, I better stop blaming people for that and do it myself.
Just do it. Yeah.
How long does it take me to say I can do a podcast with my man? So that takes a lot of, like, in my opinion, like, moving through and looking at your older self as that nigga doesn't exist anymore. And I'm free to look at those experiences and say, this is where it brought me. Unless I plan on jumping in a damn DeLorean and changing any bit of it so that I can disappear here in the present. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't touching the past anyway, so why not let it go, like, literally, and let it grow physically. All those are bars, but that's why when we throw on beats, that's what happens. We freestyle when we write now. I'm almost at the level of Sundown. He's been doing this. He's been doing this.
I don't freestyle at all. Don't listen to him.
When he's writing, he's
no,
freestyle.
I don't.
Where else is your words coming from when you're writing on a pad? How are you not freestyling when you're writing?
You're being real loose with the terminology.
Well, it depends on how. That's how I define it.
Nah, like, you know, the way people consider freestyling, that is not what I do. I sit and deliberately, think about whatever I'm gonna say, but like hey, just give me a verse, like, pointing at the stapler and this hat and all this. No, you don't want that from me.
He's talking about the speed with which they do it.
You
That's
don't
all.
you don't want that with me.
He's talking about they do it very quickly and process it over beats. But he looks at books and gets his inspiration from that. Talking about both, like, come on. I seen that
you're gonna make me out to be a freestyler, and that's not gonna happen. That's not happening.
No. He can't. No, in the sense of freestyling, like, hey, let's put one of us on the spot and do. No. He's not freestyling like that. Like,
no, you mean his writing process.
But the process of writing, in my opinion, is freestyling, and I don't have to. I mean, they can make him. I can't make my man Sundown to be anything than what Sundown is, right? Like, so if somebody derived from this that I think Sundown is a freestyle, let them think what they want to think, and they put you on the spot to freestyle and say, I don't freestyle in that way. I freestyle when I write.
You wouldn't even get to the point where it would be to put me on the spot. It's like, yo, you got something? No, I do not. I absolutely do not.
That's when I come in like a pit bull dog and just
he can.
They're making my man. Oh, they're making him afraid.
He can.
And I don't like it. Show them what you got, son.
Show what you got.
No. I wouldn't even. I don't think I would. I don't know. It depends. I can't say what I would do. I don't know. We don't know what we would do in the present moment, in times.
Now, with the writing process and speaking on, how the two of you balance each other out, there's times where some of the dopest lines come when the two of you are spitting 2 bars here, then he's spitting 2 bars there. How does that come together?
I think we'll just say on this one, let's try to trade off. And then, it's like, in M1, somebody will take the ball and do what they do. And when I dish it to you, and you just do what you do.
Do whatever. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it goes. It's not like yo, you need to say this after me. It's just like he'll be writing and he'll say, I ended with this word. All right. He's going to go record it. And I'm thinking, can I do something with that word or something off of that word? And then I'll go, and then I'll say, hey, I ended on this. All right, cool. In Overdrive, the video game Ninja Gaiden stuff that he says leads into me talking about Tecmo Bowl. So
Tecmo Bowl. Mm-hmm.
Just stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's never like I'm gonna do 4 here, you do 4, then I'm coming in with 2, and like how Styles and Jada do it. I'm not sure how they chop it up, but they'll got water, X haze, and they'll sprinkle in little things here and there in each other's verses or whatever. We don't really do that, and I don't know how they do that, but we don't do like you say this part for me real quick. We don't do that too often. It's just I end here, you run with it, and then whenever you're done with your little bit, I'm coming right back. You don't have to do a 4, however much you do. I'm jumping in as soon as you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's just amazing how y'all do that, because some of the times that I'm listening to it, it's like I don't want to say don't miss a step again, but it's seamless how y'all do that. And not everybody who's a duo is capable of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's love. I feel like we got that from watching the greats do it. Little Brother, Black Star. For me, those 2 were groups for me, and then obviously Camp Low, Mobb Deep, right? Like, but those 2 for me were I was of age to process what was being said, right? Like I could relate for the most part. I felt like anyway. Um, but that's where we kind of got that from, and then showing us how to bring that to life in Pro Tools as well, right? How to pan on both sides and volume and mixing that down to make it blend nicely, and then timing it and then nudging it and doing all those things. So that's all like other hands involved, right? Like that that showed us, right? So anything that you're seeing like the kind of results of, it definitely has come from someone else in some
And
regard.
I left out a huge chunk of my De La Soul and the Roots. When
That's
Pos and Dave,
true.
passed
Yeah.
off, especially now, seamless. When Malik
Yeah.
and Thought would pass things off to each other, or Dice Raw, like seamless, you know?
Slum Village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess now that I think about it, you know, the clips, two-man duos
That's true. Yeah.
are a big deal for me. Even before I started doing this, I just kind of outcast, you know. EPMD.
When Method Man and Redman got
There's just something about that
dynamic.
Yeah, the two people.
There you go. Yeah.
There's just something, and when two people can work like that, there's something special about that. Tanya Morgan.
Yep.
You know, he mentioned her brother. There's
Chapter 13.
Oh man, Cooley High. You know,
Yeah.
the iteration of Cooley that we have now. There's something special about being able to just lock in with one other person, and no matter what, when I toss you the baton, you know, I know you're gonna keep running with it.
Yeah. That's
And
dope.
you may run your leg better than me, but that's cool because we're on the same team.
Same team. Yeah.
And I don't want to minimize that. I don't want to diminish that. That was, I do feel like we lived a piece of a dream, right? Like that we had at one point in time. You know, that you grow up thinking about like, or, oh man, it would be so dope. Think about it. Like we became a duo, inspired by the duo, right? That came before us from our same area with the same production or an iteration of that production, right? As that production grew and evolved. And so we were a part of that timeline, right? Like that is wild. And
Yeah.
to see
It is. Yeah.
to see how, you know, so it feels like you're so close there that you can touch it. You know, that whatever you're trying to reach, you know, in this whole thing, which changes over time. What you're trying to reach in the beginning may differ from what you're trying to reach you know, further down the line, you know what I mean? Like, and that's true with me. I look at this way differently than I did back then. So
Yeah, we were never trying to be little brother, but that is one of our biggest influences. Like there's no way around that. I'll say that until I can't talk anymore. What they mean to us is, you know, I can't even put it into words. Like we would leave their shows hoarse for real, and like drenched in sweat. They just did something for us, and eventually it was like the way they made us feel about music. It was like we have to do this. We have to at least try.
That pushed us over the cliff of all right, fine, we're not afraid anymore. Let's go ahead and do this, right? Or find it, or just do it ourselves. And that again, that's that organic feel that we're once again a part of. Like before, it's almost like a relaunching, right? That's what I feel like. This is like a relaunching type thing, because when we first started making music, we were like, yo, let's just get it done. do it. Package it. Put it together ourselves. Take pictures for it. You know, go put posters up on telephone poles. Now you got Facebook, so you don't have to, you know, leave the comfort of your own home if you got 4 children and a wife. And Sundown got a wife and my man, my waffle boy. You know,
Yeah, my son is he's a different kid.
you know, so you know we're here still. We're not missing anything, but still getting the ability to share it to whoever wants to hear it. So if one person copped it, we were like, dope. They were just sitting on my iPad. And I ran them into the ground for, you know, coworkers and friends like, you know, people that's like, oh, yeah, Sheldon, we know you rap. We got it. But get the next customer.
And he had all the songs. I didn't have any of them. So, you know, these are kind of new to me again. Yeah, like he said, he's got them all. Like his Act Proof discography that he's in possession of, light years ahead of me. He'll run something for me, and I'm like, "What's that? You don't remember when we did this?" No, sir, I do not. Proceed. I forgot all about Proceed, and he was like, "Yo, remember this?" Now that you play it for me, I do, but
just mention it is nothing, right?
Yeah,
you know,
I remember Proceed. I don't even know the beat, like what. And then he'll run it for me, and I got to listen to it a couple times. Like, oh yeah, okay. But for him, I don't care if he's heard a song 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago. If you ask him to rap his verse,
spot on.
Nolan Ryan fastball, straight down the middle, 100 miles an hour. I'm giving it to you, and it's still the same.
But I could do his verses. I could do a lot of his verses as well. I'm just I like words. I see them. They're like, and I like how like patterns. Go ahead, Ant.
Just saying, your brain for that kind of stuff is way ahead of me. Way ahead of me. He'll write a verse and he'll go in the booth and literally he just finished this verse 5 minutes ago. Yo, you ready? Yep. He might look at his phone every now and then, but it's straight. All right, I'm done. Well, shit. Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky to. I mean, I learned from him. You know, he's the person I probably learned the most from because I'm constantly doing music with him. You know, I've been really lucky, just the people I've been able to work with, him included, because they all took me through however long they had been writing to when I started. They helped accelerate my process to get up to speed. There's no way.
We were all in there pushing each other.
Yeah, there's no way I could have done this alone in my house, you know, back when we started. No way.
Yeah, we were put, but we were. I think it was like that's like a. So he could pass it to me, I'd pass it to somebody else. Like in terms of
Tom
influence, like people who
like an infinite loop type.
Yeah, like okay, he's putting this on my abilities, right? But my abilities are derived from him as well, right? It's just a whole. We in the stew. We're in the stew. We're in a stew pot.
Those days when Ninth would make a beat, and he would just like, all right, whoever has a verse, and you're in a room with 4 other people, and everybody's
hungry,
head down writing, and it's just like, well, okay, I can't. I know what Booger's getting ready to do. I mean, I have an idea of what Booger's getting ready to do, and then he'll go in there and surpass what I expected. Oh shit! Okay, Hollow's up. Oh god, Q comes up. Bang, Rap comes up. You know, this is happening all the time and throughout the day. Remo may show up at 8 p.m. Rap may show up at 5 p.m. Boog may show up at 2 a.m. and it's just always you like, you always have to be ready to swing because everybody that's coming in that door is ready to swing too.
The song that played out in its full entirety, that I felt like we completed that, like what's it called?
Time's Up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Time's Up. That that was like a transcendent moment, like from the whatever level we were at, like confidence wise, knowing who we are wise, and rapping. That's what I mean by that. Like, because I felt like the joints where you don't sound as good, right? That's not as good. You're just peeling back these layers of yourself to get more comfortable with bearing yourself, right? Like literally saying, everyone judge me. Say whether I'm good or bad from whatever I'm thinking and how I'm perceiving it. It's like if I'm a painter and I'm Bob Ross and I paint a tree or whatever the hell, and like I put the damn tree right in the middle at the end, and I'm doing this because I know there's gonna be, knowing that somebody's gonna be like, yo, Bob Ross, why you put that huge ass tree right there at the end, bro? That mountain scene looked great. And it's like, because this is how I paint. Not you. If you don't like it, feel free to move along, right? Like you don't have to, look at the joy of painting, but this is the joy I get from it. And if you fuck with it, word up. If not, it wasn't. I didn't have you in mind when I made it, and that was my bad. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Now. So, but I felt like all those joints we did back in the day was literally trying to prove, like actual proof, like trying to prove we were good enough to be here and record and rap. And that's what Time's Up was a manifestation of when we got on there, and everybody got on before us, and Super Genius for me. Like, and having to do it with that quick of a turnaround. That was pressure that night that we,
I got one for you.
Yeah.
I got another one for you. Plan B. TP, Hollow, and Sky Zoo. We were supposed to be on this.
Yeah.
That was another one.
You were on that though, right?
Mm-mm.
I was, yeah.
When we got to the studio, Ninth had said, "Okay, the song's done." TP came through and did what he did. Ninth was like, "That's it. Like we're stopping here." We got there. I got there right when TP was rapping his verse, and he called us to come, and I'm sitting here listening to their verses like, okay. But then when TP finished, it was done. But that was going to be another situation where it's like, hey, you better bring it.
Man,
I'm not gonna.
Those sessions are crazy.
Yeah, those were fun times. But I kept a lot of them because, one, I wanted to get better. So I'm gonna be our worst. Like, I'm gonna be my worst critic. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm matching it with what people are saying about it and things like this, and saying, what song were you talking about? Oh, I was doing that shit too much. I was laughing too much. I was. So I gotta stop doing that now for that person. But that helped me like kind of grow. And again, speaking to this, the present time we're in right now with that with Genius that was on the on Netflix, we're looking at the story of it all. But what was dope was he had people around him that felt it was worth documenting.
Mm-hmm.
That believed in his whatever path that he was on, that believed in that trajectory. Because there was a lot of people that were saying, nah, he ain't it, and he not rapping with what everybody else is rapping about. He's doing it the way he wants to do it, and he had somebody that believed in that enough to document it so that we can see it now, which is another element involved. So I feel like if I don't have the ability to play this first song that we did ever, like on that equipment, thinking that these demo joints. I don't even know. Can you hear that ant a little bit?
Not a fan of this song.
Yeah, like it's like these are early joints that they're beautiful to me because I'm like, yo, this is where we came from. The race starts
Right.
somewhere. The run,
Yeah.
the
You got to
run,
start from the ground up. Mm-hmm.
and so why I would look at that like in a I mean I look at it. See, that's he's sundown. I'm the nighttime. It's something we just different in that way, but that's what makes us tick. But looking at those and saying, well, this is where we were and we thought we had it figured out then.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what we think we have figured out now.
Yeah.
So there is no failing in this, in my opinion. There's only we're just, in the now, like, so.
You both shown your growth, because not every musician can say, like you just playing those demos, their music might still sound similar to that. And they think that it's great.
Yep.
You're showing your growth.
Yep.
You got your own website. You have your own merch now.
Yeah,
everything, the building blocks. Yeah.
Yes, building blocks, building somewhere, and I don't know. I don't have. I don't have a destination in mind. It's just forward or up.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no place I'm trying to reach to say that this is now I've made it somewhere. I feel like we are here now. Mm-hmm. We just have to continue to expand ourselves and to continue to grow from here versus going out to find everybody in a sense of like you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to. We're gonna make what we think is dope finally, and hope to God that there's somebody that likes it as well.
Yeah, the creative direction is all us now.
All us, yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And now's the time for that too. Let it flourish.
Griselda running their own ship, and Little Brother running their own ship, and Cooley, and so many. We're just gonna put our stuff up on Bandcamp or our website, or put our own stuff on DSPs and sell our own merch and book our own show. Just running that way, as opposed to the old model of being with a label. And you can pair with one later, but kind of running that race yourself and tripping out of the starting blocks yourself, so you get that experience of being out here by yourself. There's a lot of valuable lessons in that, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was time for us to try and learn some of those.
Yeah, word up. That's a great hook right there. So now,
mm-hmm.
All right, that's where we meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where we meet in the middle nicely.
And then in comes Shepherd Sounds.
Yes.
Oh boy, he's a very talented individual.
Look at Shepherd. Shepherd Sounds.
He's nice. He's super nice.
I was in the middle of editing that podcast. I was editing for a few days. It was laced with so many. It doesn't pull up in my program anymore, my editor, because I was doing it on an iPad processors, and obviously it's not going to hold as much. I had this element in there that had Shepherd coming in. It was like a moment, a pause moment or something like that, and Shepherd would come in actually making a beat in a picture of a recent beat that he uploaded to his Twitter or something like that, so people can get to know him. And he is in my phone to this day it says Baby Dilla, out of respect for Dilla, like in the way whatever I feel from Dilla beats sometimes I get from Shepherd beats. I can't explain that. And I don't expect everybody to get that same feeling, but I do. Right. When I hear a chord or a chord progression, or the way his drums are hitting, the way his kicks are hitting, slightly delayed, or just whatever. It's just a very like Dilla feel to it. And we're not even putting string cheese on there because we never finished it. It was one that you can't even really like. It's just one that we ended up talking over it for like 2 minutes, bro. Remember that? String cheese. This is off of the first like he's just.
Can't really hear it.
Can't hear it.
Yeah, hear it now. Mm-hmm.
So and it goes into other elements.
For him to be that good and to reach out and want to work with us, it was like, what?
What?
Of course we want to work with you, you know. So now we finally get to work with him and begin that relationship in front of, you know, because we've kept up this entire time, but we haven't had a chance to put out the music that we made together. We performed one of the songs we made together at A3C one year. And after the show, people were like, what was that? I was like, well, at that time we were thinking, oh, it's coming out soon. And that was 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Wow.
So, you know, it was just that frustration of like, man, this guy is this good and he wants to work with us and continue working with us, but we can't put this out yet.
Yeah.
But now,
now we can. So, and he's grown from that too. So we got those joints, and we may do a 2.5 Good Shepherd 2.5, possibly where they're going to be touched a bit, you know, and we might do something else on something else. So,
okay.
But we haven't like solidified that. That's just like brainstorming right here. Well, we've bounced that around before, but because he's actively working on them. So we're mixing the original joints down, and those were done during a time where, again, the disparity of I mean, like I'll put it this way. I missed a few opportunities to get some beats, right? Like in my day, I'll say that, right? Like I've there's been times where I could have been present in place to receive a beat, because a lot of that stuff, honestly, is a feel-based thing. It's a vibe-based thing. You being in the studio, we've been all there. Like you're in the studio, you're creating. Everybody's creating in a space, and then something comes off of that beat machine that is just, what is that? And if we're there, we're there. If we're not, we're not. And a lot of times I was not. I was off doing the whatnots. And I made those choices, you know what I mean? Back then I lived with those, right? Like but it got me to where I am now type thing. So, you know, it's just what are we going to do now going forward? Like, and that's what this is. So we're like honoring those things that we did back in the past, so we can really come out now with a full with no more baggage, like no more like leftover, no more in the chamber. You know what I mean? We're gonna let them go.
There you go. And when can the fans expect episode 2?
Tremaine, is he back in town? Tremaine is one of our our guy for mixing and sound. He's the genius behind getting the sound together, which is a crazy blessing, because these are just raw, like unmixed, you know, untouched. They were untouched. They were in the sessions. We close them out, move on to the next song type approach. And so that's how you build up a decent catalog and of songs. And he's gonna make some. We're thinking at the end of this month, hopefully the end of this month, or end of this month. Hopefully is what we're aiming at.
Okay.
Not. I don't think we'll do a huge big fanfare about it. We'll just let it go, right? It's part two. People that know it's coming out, we'll know about it, or we'll check for it, and then hopefully we'll go. I think this one though, we are going. I think I might hit the ground and go to some college radio stations and be like, any DJs interested in breaking new music, or breaking records still, right? Or you still waiting for broken records? Right? You interested in breaking records, or you waiting for broken records? Type thing. So hopefully there's a few takers that'll run some of these joints, get them a little bit more expanded out to the people, to hear it, and it'll bring it'll be a slightly different sound than what people are a little bit used to, because we have outside production in this one, right, from the stable that we're comfortable with. So we're expanding our ability a little bit as well too in this series.
We're also following up on a promise, because a lot of people will hit me on social media like, "Yo, are you open to, taking beat submissions?" Like, yes, we are. Absolutely.
The intention is for the third one was to get outside production from current producers via some type of submission competition scenario, and have an opportunity to produce on episode 3. So if you run into anybody that's a producer and they're nice, feel free to let them know, man, because I mean, we're inspired by dope beats and dope rhymes as well. So if you know anybody that's a nice spitter, and they I'm open. That part is the world, I think. Episode 3, the world. I think it's gonna be called the world or something like that. We are the world.
Yeah, we definitely have some talented producers and MCs in our Facebook hip hop discussion group that I'll definitely let them know about. Just send me an email. How to contact you. You just use the email if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll definitely let them know.
And the reason we're so serious about that is because Ninth gave us a chance when he didn't have to.
Yeah.
Really, he did not have to. Chewy didn't have to give me a chance when he did to come out and work with me. People at Jamla, they didn't have to be on songs with us. We've been really fortunate to work with a lot of talented people, and why not pay that forward?
Yeah.
And
again, don't humble yourself, because you are two talented MCs.
Thank you.
Love, thank you. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely were hanging with people that you work with, and still one of my favorites is off Strong Boog's project, Light Beers Ahead of You. Shout out to Eric G. That one. Ooh.
Oh my God, I can't think of the name of the song. Again, Boog. He included Hollow and I on one of his projects. He didn't have to do that. It just kind of happened, and he was cool with it. And Boog to us is a legend. You're from the Justice League, like,
yeah.
You're from the entity that pushed us all the way out there. Like, yeah, it's time to try this. So for that, and then to hear him on what's the joint on Stars and Stripes or Scars and Stripes that you're on?
Proceed. It's called Proceed.
Yeah, to hear East Coast working with Boog on Proceed, for me, I'm like, I get to sit back and be a fan. Like those things didn't have to happen for us. So, we've had people submit beats for other projects that just emailed them to us, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna rap on this.
In that same like lane of we didn't have to have those opportunities given to us. Like, what are we gonna do with those opportunities? Like, really, when you really think about it, like who in anyone involved in that time. So it just, what else are we to do with it? We're in an incredible position right now to have an opportunity to continue to share and be a platform maybe for for anyone else, right? Hopefully, if people want to rock with us, you know what I mean. And hopefully all come up together, right? Like, why come up together? Like, I feel like if we all had the best interests of one another at heart at all times, like, then what information can I have that I can provide that'll make somebody else's climb that much easier? And what's dope is if I believe someone is talented enough, I don't need anything for that information. You don't have to give me anything for me informing you. I don't need you to come to me. If I'm inspired, I come to you and give you some nuggets, right? Like, it's not, unless it is, of course, an experience you want me to experience on my own. And in that case, keep your advice to yourself. In my opinion, right? Like, if you ain't go, that's just my opinion of it. And that's because, if you're saying it's an oxymoron for me. It's almost like if you're saying something won't work, do you know this because you've tried it and it didn't work? And if you tried it and it didn't work, but you are where you are now in a position to give advice, what didn't work about it? Because I would love to be where you are right now. And if it was something that you learned from that, bro, what is failing? And if you're saying, well, you didn't try it, the question after that is, well, how do you know it doesn't work? So it doesn't matter. It collapses on itself. I'm the Riddler. I love that type of like thought though, but that's kind of my approach to it.
Mm-hmm. and I wish more people, question things like that. That's what makes you a better person.
That's love, man. That's love. I love, that's love, bro. It's love. I appreciate that, because it's like, I feel like there are, and they didn't like the first rendition of the cover of which I might do it as part of 2.5 with a digital like type look behind it, but it was some stairs, and it was two sheep climbing up the stairs of the Good Shepherd, because I was playing off of the Good Shepherd and their sheep, and it's the idea of where there's shepherds and there's sheep, right? And it doesn't matter which, and then let the person decide which one they are. Let the individual then can discern for themselves, which one am I, right? And not necessarily who I'm not, but what am I? Who am I? We already know, we should know who we're not at this point. But then it's the next level of who am I, and that's why I like the sheep aspect of it, because if it was just sheep, we'd all still be cool with like colored water fountains with colored on top. Like, oh, things are good. Let's stay with the norms of everything. It's like we see the results of the norms of everything. Why is this still normal? And what is even that? Right? What is that in itself? So, anyway, I get in the weeds. Please, I want to pass the mic. I want to pass the mic to someone.
Cool. Cool. I'm gonna ask, one more question before we go, and it's gonna be for both of you. Now, on one of your IG lives, you mentioned dream collaborations. So I'm gonna mention one person that you guys mentioned, and you tell me why you picked that person. So I'm gonna start with you, Sundown. You said Haley Williams from Paramore.
I forgot that I said that. I like her voice. I really like her voice. Like at the end of a song they have called a song that Paramore has called "Ain't It Fun." There's like a gospel choir aspect to it. And when I heard, I mean, I was a fan of hers before that, but when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. And she did the joint with B.O.B. a while ago, and you know, I was jealous then. Like, damn, I would like to work with her. But I like the range of her voice, and I like that. There's something about Paramore that I don't know if it's their drums or like their song arrangement, but there's just something about them that kind of pulls me in. And you know, I think it would be unexpected. So that was one of the reasons I listed her.
And for you, Enigma, I'm gonna pick somebody because you explained how Act Proof has shown their growth, and this person has shown growth as well throughout his career. Black Milk.
Yeah. Wow. I said that. I did say that. Did I say that? I tell you, my mind changes all the time. I would love to work. Yeah, of course, I would love to work with Black Milk. Black Milk is like also part of that early root setting of the type of music that began to like resonate with me, right? Like the Slum Villages, that Detroit hip hop sound. Flying Lotus, like those producers, that type of production, which it felt like the air was being taken out of the kicks for somebody. It was like it was being sucked full of wind, like poof, like it was like a reverse kick. It felt like it just felt like the kick felt different. They hit me different, and the way the snares and the swing was just very appealing to the ear. So yeah, Black Milk, I would enjoy working with him. I would enjoy working with Moonchild. I would love to work with Moonchild. Very much so. I would love to work with Moonchild. I think I would love in the from my Ratchet side. I think I would love to work with Jocelyn Hernandez just for the experience in general. I don't know what would happen. I don't know what happened. I know it'd be an experience, and my mama would come.
Damn sure didn't expect you to say that one.
Well, look, you don't have the Zeus network, and you don't. Josh, it's a guilty pleasure.
You keep looking back.
That's because we kicking it. We gonna cut it on after I get off of the thing.
I don't even know what he's talking about. What are you talking about?
Jocelyn's Cabaret.
Oh, the show you were telling me about. Yeah.
If you just want to escape into some ratchet filth, it's a good time.
That's the one.
It's a good time. Zeus Network. So.
Damn sure didn't expect you to say that one, but okay.
Oh man.
If you guys are in terms of books, book I am reading, couple books, Seed of the Soul. That's a dope book to read. That I'm on, or that's part of a series of books. There's one called Waking Up in 5D. That's a dope one to read by Maureen St. Germain. That's dope. And there's a couple videos on stuff I'm watching on Prime Video. There's this network called the Guy Network, and I'm watching some stuff off of there. It's pretty dope. So, and really just taking in the new life that I've been given. You know, we're given a new life every day, man. I feel like I've lived multiple lives, and so that I think from that, you guys got to be wary of me and my thoughts. They change all the time. I think I've derived multiple personalities, but in a good way. I don't think like an unhealthy way because I'm aware of them. But I'm a military guy, so I can show that side, right? Like you can show that side. You can show the corporate AT&T guy if I need to woozy my way in that world, right? Like we know how to do it. We put on the faces that we are, and we embrace them. We should embrace them. That's how we get to know who we are. Because seeing yourselves as those different parts, you're realizing that that's not actually me. I become me when I shed that, and I'm in a space and time with Sundown, or I'm cooking on the stove, something good for my. You're in that zone, right? That soul space, and that's what the seat of the soul is, and you kind of get a good glimpse of that when you read that book. I think that's my time, my guys.
I was going to say that, yeah. Well, I appreciate the conversation today, and we definitely love for you to come back on when episode 2 and 2.5.
Whenever you need us.
Definitely. Yes.
Act Proof, everyone.
Thank you for having us. Thank y'all.
Sundown Enigma. Thank you.
Peace.
And as always, we let y'all give your shout outs and where they can support your music and your brand.
Why does he do this? That's what he do this.
Pass it off.
He thinks, he's passing it off. He's doing this because he knows it's hard. I'm having to do it hard as well.
What?
Pause. All right. No, all right. So
I'll help you out by putting that.
We are, there we go. So actualproof.com Bandcamp. You can check us out there. Between Us and the World is there. That's the one direct download, from us to y'all. It's also available if you like, if on DSP, all DSPs, right? So on all your streaming platforms and whatnot. And we appreciate the ear, really, because this is just part 1. We are doing part 2. We're gonna try to ramp up to part 3, and then hopefully give you guys the album All God's Children Got Rhythm, in the foreseeable future. So but yeah, you can check us out on actualproof.bandcamp. You can go to actproofofficial.com. We're on Twitter, actproofmusic, and on Instagram, actproofofficial. Facebook, we're on Facebook at actproofofficial. Yeah. Merch, you can get from there. You can branch out on the web, if you will. Right, there's an Act Proof web. From there, you can find the other stuff, YouTubes and things like this, where we putting videos and stuff out. And we got this podcast scenario going to be happening at some point. We just got to get down a solid scenario for it, time wise, and that's that. That's true. Truly, that's truly. That's my daughter.
Sundown, you have anything else?
He nailed it all. It's actproofofficial.bandcamp.com. On Twitter, Sundown Act Proof. I'm there a lot. DM me. Just talk to me on timeline, whatever. As Ian, as you know, I'm always out there.
That was a good one today on the conversion therapy.
Oh man, ridiculousness. Instagram, Sundown Act Proof. Twitter, Sundown Act Proof. Those are pretty much where I'm at. DM me if you got beats, want to talk, whatever. I've exchanged phone numbers with people and text and all that, so I'm around.
There you have it. And on behalf of HHDG Media Crew, we're gonna say peace.
Peace.